Today we're going to talk about social media and social media marketing. First, we're going to look at how social media is used and the relationship to Integrated Marketing Communications, IMC. Social media is any tool or service that uses the internet to facilitate conversations. As you saw in the academic presentation, there are many different definitions, and it really depends on where you look as to the definition that you find. So social media have several implications for marketers and the way that they interact with their customers. Marketers must realize that they often do not control the content on social media. The ability to share experiences quickly with such a large number of people amplifies the impact of word of mouth in a way that can eventually affect a company's bottom line. Social media allows marketers to listen. It provides more sophisticated measures for marketers about how to meet and interact with customers, that much more than traditional advertising does. And social media allows marketers to have a much more direct and meaningful conversation with various customers or potential customers. The tools that we're going to talk about are social networks, blogs, microblogs, and media sharing sites. So social media has radically changed the way that conversations take place, making human interactions global. The social media specifically has changed how and when conversations take place and basically globalized human interaction through the rapidly evolving technology. Marketers now must decide if and when to engage in conversations and if that will be profitable, and then they look to find the most effective method of entering the conversation. According to some of the statistics, that in the United States, 90% of American adults own a cell phone, while 45% own a smartphone. These numbers jumped to 93% and 63% for adults ages 18 to 29. Among all adults, 55% access the internet on a mobile phone and 45% have access to social media websites. Tablet usage has hit a critical mass among mobile surfers. 1 in 4 smartphone users also own a tablet. And you can see on the slide the number of photos, tweets, uploads, and videos that occur on a daily basis is pretty astounding. So social commerce in 2014 generated $23.9 billion. And remember, social commerce is a set of e-commerce that involves the interaction and user contribution aspects of social online media to assist online buying and selling of products and services. So while marketers typically employ a social media strategy alongside traditional channels, many marketers are increasingly incorporating social media into their budgets. And you saw that from the academic article that I presented, where we see a large majority of marketers are using social media in their day-to-day routines and spending several hours a week utilizing that as a marketing tool. Crowdsourcing, using customers to develop and market products, is one example of how social media has enabled companies to use the input of many, where before it was just the input of a few. So social media and integrated marketing communications do differ slightly, and you see on the screen the difference between social media is on the left and integrated marketing communications is on the right. So how do you create a social media campaign? Well, the first piece is to understand the ideas behind media. And you will recall from our advertising chapter, we talked about owned media is online content that the organization creates and controls. Earned media is public relations term connoting free media such as mainstream media coverage. And paid media is content paid for by the company to be placed online. So social media falls under the earned media because you don't pay for it in any way, and you certainly do not control it. You can be a part of the conversation, but you don't necessarily control it on social media. So leveraging the different types of media, key guidelines. So maximize owned media is by reaching out beyond their existing websites to create portfolios and digital touch points. You want to recognize that aptitude at public and media relations no longer translates into earned media, and that paid media must serve as a catalyst to drive customer engagement and expand into emerging channels. So to leverage these three types of medias, you have to follow those guidelines. And if balanced correctly, all three types of media can be a very powerful tool for interactive marketers. So the first thing is listen. And by listening, social media monitoring, it's the process of identifying and accessing what is being said about a company, individual, product, or brand. It can involve text mining specific keywords on social networking sites, websites, blogs, discussion forums, and other social media platforms. Once a company has started listening, it typically wants to develop a more formalized approach. This is a source that comes from Web Strategy Matrix. It's the 8 stages of listening. It's from 2009, so you can look it up by doing social media metrics. You can see that these stages basically take on flow. You're listening, you don't have any objectives, and you start tracking your brand mentions, identify any risks and opportunities, improve your campaign efficiency, measure satisfaction once you've made some improvements. Ideally, you want to measure satisfaction before and after you make improvements so that you can see that it's increased based on what you've done and certainly not decreased. You want to respond to customers, get a better understanding of what customers need and want. Remember, that's the marketing orientation or market orientation. And then be proactive and anticipate demands, and you're going to have the best customer service. So here are some practical ideas that marketing managers should consider when starting a social media objective. You want to listen and learn, build relationships, promote the products and services, manage your reputation, and improve your customer service. All of those are possible through social media. So there's various methods of social media measurement. This slide lists some of the top social media metrics used today. However, these measurements are only valuable if they're tied to performance indicators and allow marketers and managers to see how social media directly impacts the business. Given the relative ease and efficiency with which organizations can use social media, a positive return on investment is likely for many, if not most, organizations who utilize social media as a marketing tool. These are the basic ways that consumers interact and engage via social media. And being one doesn't mean that you'll never be another, and you may be one for one particular product, brand, or nonprofit organization, and may be another for another type of industry, or maybe another for a different industry or a different product category. So creators are those who produce and share online content like blogs, websites, articles, and videos. Critics are those who post comments, ratings, and reviews of products and services on blogs and forums. Collectors are those who use various feeds to collect information and vote for website online. Joiners are those who maintain a social profile and visit other sites. Spectators are those who read blogs, listen to podcasts, watch videos, and generally consume the media that is available via social media. Inactives don't do any of these things, and rookies are classified as joiners. Conversationalists are people who post status updates and social networking sites and microblogging services such as Twitter. Conversationalists represent about 31% of users on social media. And then here's a breakdown of kind of how each of those categories also break out. 24% are creators, 36 are critics, 23 collectors, 68 joiners, 73 spectators, and 14 are inactives. So as a marketer, we're going to look to people who are both creators and critics. Those are the people that we would want to target with our various campaigns because they're the ones that are going to either create the content or comment and share our content. So your toolbox for social media and what that looks like. These are the various tools that marketing managers have available when looking at integrating social media into their marketing plan, and you don't necessarily have to use all of them at once. We're going to discuss each of these in detail. Blogs. So blogs are publicly accessible web pages that function as an interactive journal where readers can post comments on the author's entries. Corporate blogs are sponsored by the company. It's the same general idea, and typically one or more of the company's employees maintain the corporate blog. And then non-corporate blogs are independent blogs that are not associated with marketing efforts of any particular company or brand. Microblogs are blogs that entail shorter posts than traditional blogs. Microblogs are limited to 140 characters, and the reason why is because when Twitter was first launched, worldwide standard size of a text message was 160 characters. And the people who created Twitter wanted to make sure that you could get the whole tweet in one text message, including the sender's information. So they were limited to 140 because the standard size was 160. They're useful for disseminating news, promoting longer blog posts, sharing links, announcing events, and promoting sales. There are multiple ways that companies can use Twitter to engage their customers. Social networking sites allow individuals to connect and to network with friends, peers, and business associates. The main goals are typically to increase awareness, target audiences, promote products, develop relationships, highlight expertise and leadership, attract participants, do some research, and generate new business. Photo sharing sites allow users to archive and share messages. Video creation, distributions have gained extreme popularity among marketers because the video's rich ability to tell a story. A podcast is a digital audio or video file that is distributed serially for others to watch. So we could think of something like TED Talks as podcasts. Social news sites. Marketers have found that these sites are useful for promoting campaigns, creating conversations around related issues, and building website traffic. If marketing content posted to a crowdsourced site is voted up, discussed, and shared enough, it typically goes viral and could be seen on something like in Trending on Today. So the Today Show always does a segment called Trending, and they talk about the things that have gone viral on the internet. Location-based social networking sites combine the fun of social networking and location-based GPS technology. Something like this is like Foursquare. And then review sites allow customers to post, read, and rate, as well as comment on opinions regarding the products and services of an organization. According to Nelson Media Research, more than 70% of consumers said they trust online consumer opinions. By giving marketers the opportunity to respond to their customers directly and put their business in a positive light, review sites certainly serve as a useful tool for local and national businesses. And an example of this is something like Yelp. Virtual world and online gaming. So virtual world and online gaming include massive multimedia online games and online communities. About 8 million people participate in some sort of virtual world game. The most popular ones on Facebook are Candy Crush, Farmville 2, Texas Hold'em, Pet Rescue Saga, and Dragon City. Candy Crush nets 93 million users per day. A growing trend among mobile games is to use the mobile app to generate revenue for the game makers. And nearly 25% of people play games within social networking sites or on mobile devices. The annual revenue for these is near $1 billion. So let's talk a little bit about the impact of mobile technology on social media. In 2013, mobile advertising grew by more than 80% in the U.S. The rate is expected to slow down a little bit in 2015 to about 50%, when mobile advertising will make up about 10% of ad spending for companies. Digital advertising alone will account for 28% of all U.S. ad spending in 2015. So worldwide, more than 6 billion mobile users and 17% are smartphone users. Some of the reasons why mobile marketing popularity is there's a lower barrier to entry. Consumers are acclimated to mobile privacy and pricing standards, especially given the recent interaction with the government and Apple about breaking the smartphone from the California terrorist attack. It's effective at garnering consumer attention in real time. Mobile marketing is 100% measurable. and it's a higher response rate than traditional media because most of us have our phones with us most of the time. SMS stands for Short Message Service. The message centers are responsible for sending and receiving texts. They also try to resend messages if they fail the first time. Some of the challenges of SMS are spoofing and spamming. The limit for an SMS is 160 characters, as I discussed earlier, and 4.1 trillion SMS text messages were sent, $81 billion in 2008. I'd love to see those numbers today. And then MMS is multimedia messaging service. Messages are sent to the message center, and they are then sent to the recipient via the internet. If the phone supports MMS formats, if it doesn't, the MMS can be viewed as a web browser. Some of the challenges of MMS are spamming, content adaptation, distribution lists, and poor handling capabilities. There's no limit on size, and 1.3 billion active users and 50 billion MMS messages were sent in 2008, which was $26 billion worth of revenue. You have mobile websites, mobile ads, Bluetooth, and smartphone apps are all other mobile tools that are used. Then we have applications known as apps or widgets. When an app is well branded and integrated into a company's overall marketing strategy, it can create buzz and generate consumer engagement. A web widget allows a developer to embed a simple application such as a weather forecast, horoscope, or stock market ticker into a website, even if the developer did not write the application source code or even understand it. When considering to investigate a marketing-oriented widget, you want to ask, does your organization publish compelling content on a regular basis? Does the content engage individuals or appeal to customer needs? Is the content likely to inspire conversations, and will the customers want to share the content? So now that we've learned a little bit about social media and the various tools that can be used, we're going to talk a little bit about developing a social media plan. So first, listen. We've already discussed listen a little bit, and a social media plan should be linked to other factors in the overall marketing plan and fit with those established objectives. So the social media plan, you want to set social media objectives, but they need to line up with the organization's overall objectives. Social media plans should be evaluated regularly to take into account the new platforms and rapid changes. And here's the 6 different steps. So once you've listened, you should then be able to develop some relevant social media objectives. You want to define your strategy, identify your target audience, select the various tools and platforms in which you want to operate, and then implement and monitor your strategy. Because social media is ever changing, the daily usage statistics also often change. So as I've mentioned a few times, it's really important to continue to monitor what's going on in the social media world if you're going to be marketing in that world. All right, that concludes the presentation for today. Have a great one.